Previously on Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. I told you Maki was not the killer. I told you this many times. Yes, you did. But you never told us why. I am sorry. Oh my God. I was not able to speak on it, and you didn't ask me. I mean, if you had asked me why he couldn't have done it, I could have just told you that he was busy playing the piano at the time. But you didn't ask. And I wasn't supposed to talk because it all happened during the performance of a magic act.
There it is, magic act. I knew it.
Yes, but I haven't canonically said that yet. You're just improvising.
Damn it.
Hello, I'm Unca Crunk. Welcome back to Ace Attorney, where we are returning. We've just gone into a recess after finding out that we actually do have opportunity for Darian Crescent to have murdered Romain Latouche.
Apollo, I can't believe it.
It really happened during the second act? And right in the middle of Lamora's performance? The reason why she was in that air vent, and that switch and the flaming guitar, when you link it all together, that's what you end up with. I knew you had what it took. Oh, hello. Where have you been?
God, Daddy.
Mr. Wright, you believed in me? Not really. Huh? I just thought that'd make a cooler entrance than say, hiya. Why don't I even bother hoping? Where have you been lately, Daddy? You haven't been coming to the office at all. I'm sorry about that, Trucy. I'm on a secret mission. Secret? You mean like you're undercover? Like Mr. Latouche, only shorter and not as well dressed.
Oh no, what if you're shot too, Daddy?
Would I do a thing like that to you? Anyway, I'm off for a while again. You're leaving? Oh, one thing before I go.
What?
Good luck. Right. Is that all you came to say? I think you have things pretty much under control. You'll get Maki Tobai off the hook, no doubt. Yeah, but you're after that detective, aren't you? Darian Crescent. It won't be easy proving he did it, especially not under the current court system. The current court system? What did Prosecutor Gavin say during the trial? Your case is based on one fragile assumption, namely that our diva divine is telling the truth.
But what about all the proof?
The brooch and the switch. A piece of jewelry and a lyrical blunder. There are plenty of other ways to explain these things. The flaming guitar, too. All because you lack definitive proof of their connection to the case.
But
if the sultry songstress is lying, your case melts like butter in a frying pan, leaving behind the faintly singed scent of failure.
so what do I do?
Like I said, good luck. And be aware that it will be impossible to prove his guilt by conventional methods. Oh, that reminds me. I have something to give you from our detective friend. Detective Sky? Emma? Let's see. This bag of snacks here was meant for me. Oh, here it is. The hell is that?
What are those, Daddy?
They don't look like very good snacking material. They were found at the scene. Analysis of the fragments revealed traces of gunpowder.
Gunpowder?
Probably a firecracker or something similar like the ones kids are into these days. These fragments were found under the sofa at the scene of the crime, actually. Under the sofa.
Hey, Apollo! That's where we found that little device thingy.
Right, this. Well, finally some evidence that makes sense. Okay. That's all from me, I suppose. See you after the verdict. Maybe. Right. Every man has an igniter inside him. Spoken like a man that eats way too much Thai food. Excuse me? Find Darian Crescent's igniter and set it off. Oh, And he walked out the door just like a magician, normally. What does he want us to do? No conventional methods, what does that mean? I guess we just have to take his advice and hope it makes sense when the time comes. I guess. We're almost at the finish line. Hang in there, Trucy. July 10th, 1:55 p.m., District Court, Courtroom number 3.
Court is now back in session. Prosecutor Gavin, where's Detective Crescend?
In the witness lounge, ready to be called at any time.
Very well.
Might I add, I don't believe any of this. Darian was the first detective I ever worked with. We stopped working together when he moved to Criminal Affairs Division 3. But his guitar playing, it fires my imagination. That's nice, but it has nothing to do with the matter at hand. Correct? Oh, I know. Hair forehead.
Very well. Call the final witness to the stand. Detective Darian Crescend.
Name and occupation, please.
Darian Crescend, Detective, Criminal Affairs Division 3. That's the International Affairs Division for those of you who didn't know. And I'm a guitarist for the Governors. Maybe you've heard of us?
Do you fully understand the circumstances under which you stand before us today?
Yeah, I understand, Your Honor. What I don't understand is how you let this happen, partner. You gave me your word I wouldn't be standing here.
The situation's changed, Darian. And don't call me partner.
So much for old friends.
I see what you're doing, Darian. You're pressing the prosecution. Your Honor, if we could begin the trial.
Yes, it's high time we did. Let's hear your testimony. You may begin with your response to Lemroar's testimony. If, in fact, you have anything to say about it.
Oh, I got plenty to say. Lying must be a national pastime in Borginia. And wherever you're from, Mr. Justice.
Conventional methods are out the window, huh? There goes nothing. Witness testimony.
Darian's rebuttal. The diva's lying, plain and simple. She's got nothing to back up her story. In the first place, she never heard my voice. She forgot the words because she had gunshots? As if. Didn't Detective Emma Sky hear those gunshots during the third set anyway? The shooting took place when I was on stage, man.
So you claim Lemroar's testimony was a lie?
Hey, don't get me wrong, I dig what she's doing, trying to protect that kid. And she's got the court eating vague statements out of her hand just because she's blind.
You go too far, Darian.
Look, all I'm saying is you've got a reliable witness. Why not listen to the detective?
Detective Sky? I see. Mr. Justice, you may begin the cross-examination.
He didn't waste any time finding our weak spot. Can't do this with Lemroar's testimony alone. I'll have to find some other way to prove when the shooting took place. Cross-examination, start.
The diva's lying, plain and simple. She's got nothing to back up her story.
You don't have any proof she was lying.
Oh yeah, kid? You saying I lied?
No, I'm just saying,
Apollo, glare back at him.
I couldn't help it. I flinched by reflex.
He's dressed as a shark, Tracy. I have an unresolved trauma regarding sharks.
Oh my God, were you attacked by a shark once? No, I watched Jaws when I was way too young for the movie. Anyway, Detective Christian.
Yeah, what do you want?
Nothing.
Apollo, chin up, back straight, you're wilting.
This guy's hard as nails. He makes Walkie look downright cooperative.
Look, there's no way the diva remembers my voice. In the first place, she never heard my voice.
You never talked to her, even though you were playing in the same concert?
Not a word as far as I can recall.
But weren't there planning sessions or something?
Gavin took care of all that himself.
Darian wasn't involved in any of the meetings with her.
Yeah. As if you can just go around remembering everyone's voice like that anyway. I mean, it's not like I have a distinctive voice or anything. I mean, tons of people sound like me. Only an idiot would believe that.
Lemoire's hearing is very sensitive. She could remember him if she heard him, I'm sure of it.
And just can't prove it.
And I need proof.
She forgot the words because she heard gunshots? As if.
We know she missed the words. The mixing board proved it.
Oh yeah, there was a mistake, but blaming it on gunshots is just a lame excuse.
What do you mean?
The mixing board proves what? Proves there was a mistake in the song, a miscue. So, she just flubbed it up big time, that's all. She spins this story about a gunshot to protect the kid and cover for her own goof. Man, I'd have to hand it to her if she wasn't sticking it to me at the same time.
Darian, watch what you say. Lemoire is an artist.
What, you got a crush on her or something?
That's none of your concern. She just flubbed it up. That's no small accusation for a performer of her caliber.
Heh, she got to you all right. I can see it in your eyes. I tell you, most of her stuff is so pretentious, it's way over my head.
I'm detecting a rift in the governor's ranks.
Anyway, she's too close to the defendant. Her testimony can't be trusted. You ask me, I'd go with Detective Sky's story at the drop of a pick. Didn't Detective Emma Sky hear those gunshots during the third set anyway?
Hold it!
Actually, I was there too.
So I hear. Which means you heard them too, right? The gunshots.
Yes. We heard gunshots. Neither I nor Emma actually saw the shooting, mind you.
Huh. I guess you and Lemoire got the same excuse then.
Oh, firecrackers. Under the sofa. Okay. We know one thing for certain here. There were gunshot-like sounds that emanated from that room during the third set.
Stop backseating me, Clavier. I got it.
What we must determine is whether those sounds were actually gunshots. Maki heard him too. Remember he said he ran for the air duct when he heard him? So how do we figure out just what those gunshots during the third set were?
The shooting took place when I was on stage, man.
Hold it!
That could have been what the shooter wanted us to think.
I'll tell you what the shooter, that kid, wants you to think. He wants you to think the diva heard me in that room.
I'm back to relying on Lemoire's testimony. As much as I'm enjoying the Darian and Forehead show, there is no need for such tempers.
Don't make us into some comedy duo. Does this mean the Gavin and Darian show's canceled?
Neither of your claims can be proven or disproved. We could argue for days like this and get nowhere.
Prosecutor Gavin is quite right. This court will hear no further discussion on this topic without new facts.
New facts, huh? He's pretty eager to paint Lemoire as a liar, isn't he? Yeah, because her testimony is basically our entire case. This is tough. So, what do we do? I've got a few ideas. I just need to find another way to prove it didn't happen when he says it did. All right, so first things first.
Objection!
Some things were found at the crime scene after yesterday's trial.
What things?
The first was this small device. That's the remote-triggered igniter. Correct. And one more thing.
What are those? Remains of something burnt? Not another guitar, I hope.
Traces of gunpowder were found on these fragments. We have a report that it was something like a firecracker. How did Gavin know about this? What, you think Detective Sky works for you? I received a report this morning before coming here. that's when I made my decision, actually.
Well, what decision is this, Prosecutor Gavin?
I registered Darian as a witness in today's trial, just in case. This raises another possibility. Those gunshot-like sounds during the third set could have been two firecrackers rigged to go off by remote control.
You got an active imagination, don't you? But you shouldn't say every little thing you think. Your explanation there seems a bit too convenient to me.
How so?
So you're saying these firecrackers just happened to go off right when two witnesses came walking by? Nah.
That's right. Darian was out on stage when it happened, Apollo. How would he know someone was backstage right then?
If a firecracker goes off in the forest and there's no one there to hear, you get my drift? Why go through the trouble, man? Sure.
How do I explain this? He may not look it, but Darian is a gifted detective. Show any weakness and he's sure to find it.
He may not look it, partner? Gee, thanks, man.
That reminds me. I happened to pass through that very hallway several times that day myself, and I saw something odd there just before the third set. Something odd? A headset, the kind all the band and staff members were wearing. Gavin's just running my defense for me. That's right. We picked this up in front of the door to that dressing room. What if the headset wasn't dropped, but placed? And what if it was turned on? You could hear what was going on in that hallway, even if you were out on stage.
Whose side are you on, Gavin?
Listen to me, Darian. There are no sides in a court of law. Which is why I now turn to you, Hair Forehead. I have a question for you.
Nah.
The igniter and the burnt fragments that were found at the scene of the crime. It's certainly a possibility that they were part of a ruse to fake the sound of gunshots. Throw the headset from the hallway into the mix and you could fabricate an alibi. But we're still no closer to proving anything. Those gunshots might have been real or fake. We can't say.
Yeah.
You've raised the possibility that the shots heard during the third set were faked. Now you need to prove the other half of the case. The other half?
Look, I'll just tell him. He wants you to prove that the thing went down in the second act, while our little piano player was on stage. That right, Gavin?
Indeed. You can't prove that. Then to continue this cross-examination would be pointless.
Well, Mr. Justice, can you prove the crime took place during the second set?
Yeah, I think so. You better know, Apollo, otherwise we're through.
It can be proven.
You make it sound like someone else is going to come along and do it for you.
Well, I mean, you've been doing a pretty good job so far, Gavin.
Let's continue with the cross-examination then, shall we? Witness, your testimony if you would.
This isn't going to be easy. Actually, I think it might be. I need some decisive proof and fast.
You ready, kid? Because I am.
All right.
The shooting took place during the second set. If you're so sure, let's see your proof.
All right. Oh. I think. All right, go with me on this. Since she was mic'd up and above the room where the gunfire happened, it should show up on her track.
Objection!
It seems there was clear proof left behind. Right here in Lamroar's song.
Her song?
What exactly is this, device thingy? New variety of gramophone, perhaps?
Come on, we just used this. Don't get me started on gramophone. This device was used to record the performance part by part.
Art?
Remove the sliders to adjust the volume. Each instrument is adjustable separately, Lamroar's voice included.
Oh, but what does this prove?
According to Lamorar's testimony, at the moment of the shooting, she forgot the words to the song. You intend to examine the recording at that moment, yeah? We might even hear those gunshots.
Exactly. Ridiculous. How are you supposed to hear gunshots back in that dressing room out on stage?
Have you forgotten, Darian? We were all wearing these headsets.
Oh,
We were all deeply involved in our performance, but Lamorar's headset would have picked up what she heard all the same.
Then let's get to analyzing that recording. Right now.
Lamorar stopped singing when she heard the shots fired. Find that spot and I'll find the gunshots. Okay. First of all, let's turn down everything except for the vocals. Let's see. What section was that in? Oh, there it was.
Take that!
Your Honor, listen to this part.
What's this? I heard nothing. How is this possible?
Wait, isn't the judge hard of hearing?
I can hear just fine, thank you very much.
You heard me thinking.
I saw what you were thinking on your face.
Your judge's hearing aside, I too heard nothing. I heard it! Leading me to believe there's nothing there to be heard. I guess that's the wrong spot.
A penalty on behalf of all who are hearing impaired, you insensitive braggart. Enjoy.
nah.
Mr. Justice, once more if you would.
Lamorar, you have to... Oh. I had track 5 selected, didn't I? Damn it.
Take that!
Your Honor, listen closely to this part. This is the track with Lamorar's vocals. Bang.
I did hear something faintly there, yes. Wait, it sounded like a gunshot.
What? This has to be some kind of mistake.
I believe a case has been made. Gunshots were heard during the second set, which means Lamorar's testimony was true.
Ah,
Order! So, she was telling the truth about what she heard?
It was the other man speaking, not Mr. Latouche.
Well, what did he say?
It's over. Press the switch. Now. Just after that, there was a gunshot, and then the guitar caught on fire. Detective Crescend, you weren't on stage during the second set. You could have done it.
But why did we only hear one gunshot on the recording? Weren't 2 bullets fired from this weapon?
Lamorar was moving through the air vent, Your Honor. She must not have been close enough for her mic to catch the first shot. But then, as she passed over the dressing room, the gun fired again and Mr. Latouche's life was taken. Well, Detective Crescend? Once again, I am reminded of something. Our performance that day.
Your performance?
Seeing the mixing board jogged my memory. You were there too, Hair Forehead.
What is it with today?
Problem after problem. Akun! My hog won't start. My guitar case is busted. My guitar's been burnt to a crisp, and to top it all off, someone's dead. And then there was that performance just now. What was that all about? This part's off.
Which is that?
Second guitar.
that.
It was you, Darian. I thought it strange at the time. How could you miss such a simple cue? I know you. I know how you play. You're better than that.
Yeah, well,
You what? And Prosecutor Gavin, what are you getting at?
I'm talking about the murder weapon, Mr. Latusse's .45 caliber hand cannon. As we have learned, even the shooter doesn't go unscarred with a revolver that size. The kickback is enough to dislocate your shoulder if you're an amateur.
but wait. You mean his playing was effective because he hurt himself shooting that revolver? You're forgetting something.
Yes, Detective Crescend?
I am a trained police officer, you know. I've had firearms training. Plenty of it. I'm no amateur.
The standard sidearm issued to police officers is a .38 caliber weapon, a much tamer beast. Also, the burner weapon belonged to the victim, Mr. Latousse, which suggests there was a struggle between killer and victim.
So the killer might not have been holding the revolver correctly when he fired. Is that what you mean?
The thought had occurred to me, yes.
Well, does the witness have anything to say to this? Detective Crescend.
What I want to ask is what Mr. Sleeves rolled up all ready for action has to say. Hey, you, attorney. Me? Exactly which piece of your evidence is decisive again? You got a little noise on a tape that could be anything. And you have an alleged guitar cue missed due to a .45 caliber kickback. I weep for this case, Gavin. I really do. You can line up your little weak pieces of evidence all you want. I didn't shoot that manager. And that's the obvious truth.
The witness has a point. The defense's arguments, while persuasive, are not decisive. I believe we should hear what the witness has to say in response to the case so far. Your testimony, please, Detective Crescend. Tell us your reasons why you couldn't have done it.
Nah.
Witness testimony.
Proof of innocence. Come on, why would I even want to kill that manager? You want a reason? Easy, I got no motive, man. This was that diva's first trip to this country, right? How could I possibly know her manager? If I didn't know him, why would I want to kill him?
A simple reason indeed. Prosecutor Gavin, is it the case that Mr. Latousse had not been to our country before?
According to our records, yes, not even once.
I see. Very well. Mr. Justice, you may begin the cross-examination.
Great. Now I need to find a motive. Well, I think I got one. Cross-examination, start.
Come on, why would I even want to kill that manager?
Her manager, sure, but Mr. Latousse was...
Oh, right, sorry. An Interpol agent, wasn't he? I just have trouble picturing that big lunk as an undercover cop, you dig? And not a very good one, seeing as how he got wasted.
That's cold, dog.
Not that it matters either way. See, I had no reason to kill the man, whatever he was. You want a reason? Easy. I got no motive, man.
But that's the same for Maki. No motive was proven for him.
Come on, he traveled around the world with that old fart. He had plenty of time to come up with a motive of his own. Maybe his feet smell, I don't know. Spend a lot of time on in a tour bus with somebody with stinky feet. It could lead you to murder. Anyway, he definitely had more of a motive than I did. I mean, think about it. This is that diva's first trip to this country, right?
Darian, you're a detective with international affairs?
Yeah, what of it?
Even if this was Mr. Latousse's first trip to this country, you still could have met him prior to the concert.
Huh.
Or don't you take any international trips in international affairs?
Oh, that's right. Well, Detective Crescend?
That's your game, is it? I guess I better confess then.
Confess?
Yeah. It's a bit of an embarrassment, but I've never been sent overseas. What?
But you're an international.
See, me and Plains got a difference of opinion. We don't like each other much.
My condolences, Air Forehead, but he's telling the truth. He's never set foot outside the country. I can guarantee it.
As it turns out, my division has plenty of work to do locally as well.
That's so unfair.
How could I possibly know her manager? If I didn't know him, why would I want to kill him?
Oh, I need to go back one.
Hold it!
So you didn't fraternize with him at all during the concert?
Fraternize? Heh, I don't think we exchanged a single word. As if anyone would want to talk to that old Eastern blockhead. No, ladies, that's a different matter altogether. So, you see... If I didn't know him, why would I want to kill him?
Hold it!
You sure about that?
What? What? Wipe that look off your face before I do it for you. Listen, you try throwing out one of your wild accusations, and I'll throw it back at you so hard you'll forget who you're accusing of what.
Air Forehead, perhaps it's best if you let your evidence do the talking, Ja?
Man, what evidence? That's what I want to know.
So he's using this motive question as ammunition, huh? Well, I've got ammunition too.
Evidence!
Okay, I got your motive right here.
Objection!
Your Honor, take a look at this.
What's that? Looks like candy.
It's not. Don't lick it, please. Detective Christian, ever seen this?
Yeah, it looks like a piece of candy.
What it is evidence. Don't lick it before you try it. Specifically, this is a replica of a cocoon. It was found among the victim's belongings.
A cocoon? Never seen one that color.
It is a variety only found in the Republic of Borginia. Nowhere else.
All right, but what is this cocoon replica doing in my courtroom? Surely this has nothing to do with the motive for killing Mr. Latus, does it?
It does. Wait, I think it does.
You don't sound so confident, man.
A cocoon. Is it one of those silky cocoons? The kind that you can make, well, silk out of?
Not this one. This cocoon makes a powerful curative.
A curative? For what?
Apparently, it is most efficacious at treating a disease thought incurable. It is the only medicine of its kind. However, it is illegal to take one of these healing cocoons out of Borginia.
Whatever for? If it's such a miracle cure, why not share it with the world?
Yeah, that's why I've been wondering. We looked into the matter at some length. Apparently, it isn't difficult at all to manufacture the remedy from the cocoon. Yet, if you change the process only slightly, you can easily make a large quantity of something else entirely. A deadly poison, in fact.
What?
There was an incident several years ago where some of these got out onto the black market. It caused quite the commotion in the global community, though the media was kept largely unaware.
Intriguing.
All this has led to a strict ban on the cocoon's export. One rigidly enforced by Interpol, among others.
Interpol.
Right! The victim, Romain Latus, was an Interpol agent. Detective Christian, you insist on referring to him as a manager. But that is misleading. Romain Latus wasn't killed as a manager. He was killed as an undercover agent.
So I was trying to smuggle this gumball into the country? That what you're trying to say?
I'm saying that could well be a motive for murder.
Oh, so I was going to sell it on the black market, make myself a pretty penny. Ridiculous. I mean, totally unthinkable.
Unthinkable, you say? Why?
Perhaps it's time for another testimony about this smuggling of cocoons business.
Okay, so not only did Maki not kill the guy, he didn't do the smuggling either.
Cocoon smuggling. International Affairs got a memo about these cocoons. Interpol's all hot and bothered about them. Can't sell them on the black market, too dangerous. Yeah, cocoon smuggling ain't exactly lucrative anymore. Man, I'm in international affairs. I know the deal.
Indeed. Interpol wanted these cocoons bad enough to send Mr. Latouche undercover.
You kids think of the craziest things. But no way am I gonna risk life and limb just to get my hands on some dirty cocoon money.
Not the most noble of statements, but duly noted.
According to reports, these cocoons top Interpol's list. Selling them to an underground organization would be risky.
Very well, you may begin the cross-examination.
This is the only motive I've got. He was up to something, and I'm going to find out what. Cross-examination, start.
International Affairs got a memo about these cocoons.
That memo, that's how you knew about the cocoons.
Oh, nice one, nice one. I'm running scared now.
You had to know about the cocoons to plan this.
Just how well known are these cocoons? I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I'd never heard of them.
Well, Lamore knew about them, though not their use. My reports indicate that there are ongoing efforts to control information about the cocoons. Most people only know they're illegal to export. That's all.
Then I've got nothing to be embarrassed about after all.
You can say people like me you know about them are a minority, yeah. But that includes everyone in international affairs, man. And everyone in Interpol, too, for that matter. Yeah. Interpol's all hot and bothered about them.
So there are other Interpol agents like Mr. Latouche?
All over the world, likely. Deep undercover, most of them. That's why these cocoons are too hot for the black market. You don't want Interpol sniffing through your wares. Most came to the conclusion that can't sell them on the black market, too dangerous.
Dangerous?
Yeah, Interpol finds you, they arrest you on the spot. Or another marketeer might think you're part of some sting and take you out himself. Times have changed. Yeah, cocoon smuggling ain't exactly lucrative anymore.
But wouldn't scarcity drive up prices?
Yeah, and attention. Every gangster and his brother would want a piece of that action. They'd turn your forehead into Swiss cheese before you could say objection.
Maybe we could get them to cut his hair, too. Who's on trial here again?
Man, you so obviously know nothing about the market.
And that's a bad thing?
Don't even try to mess with me about this stuff. Man, I'm in international affairs. I know the deal.
All right, I'm not going to put... Well, okay, yeah, I will.
Hold it!
Which is why you know how to find a loophole in the system.
Hey, you can't say what you want. You can say what you want about me, but back off international affairs. There ain't no loopholes, okay? What do you think we are, Boy Scouts?
That wasn't what I was trying to, down, Darian. It's as you say. There are no loopholes, at least in the case of these cocoons. International Affairs, Interpol, and Borginian Customs are all watching.
See, we know what we're doing. Not like some yipping little doggies that lap up every word the diva says. Why, I oughta what? You want some of this?
Chill, both of you. Let's do this cool, Jeff.
Screw cool. Some of this guy's head on a stick.
The replica has to be the key to his motive. There's got to be a way to find out what he was up to. All right. There we go. Yep. Incuritis.
Objection!
Why not choose a less dangerous buyer then? I would.
How clueless are you? Everyone in the market's dangerous. The second they found out I was a cop, I could kiss my keister goodbye.
Why sell to a black market buyer? How about someone
Like this.
That article, that's about the Chief Justice's...
A deadly poison can be extracted from the cocoon, but so can a cure. And not a cure for just any disease, a cure for incuritis.
Incuritis? I've heard of that somewhere.
You went to visit a victim of the disease this morning.
Wait, that's the disease that Chief Justice's son has. You aren't saying...
Our witness is a detective. He would have contact with the Chief Justice.
You are saying... The Chief Justice would never deal in contraband.
Not even to save his own son's life?
But even if the deal went through, why, it'd be an international scandal.
That's Detective Crescen's insurance. If word ever got out, the one with his neck on the line would be the Chief Justice.
Detective Crescen, is this true?
First I'm a murderer, now I'm a smuggler? How many crimes are you trying to pin on me anyway?
Distasteful as it is to think about, if the Chief Justice were the buyer, why, a seller couldn't hope for a better deal. A very cowardly seller.
Don't let sleeves over there trick you. So I made a deal with the Chief Justice? Where's your proof?
Well...
Oh yeah, and if you're forgetting one other important thing.
Oh, do tell.
Interpol isn't the only ones out there watching this. Borginian Customs barely sleep, so they're worried about cocoons getting out.
So we were informed. Let's continue with the cross-examination.
Ow.
Okay, Borginian Customs...
Borginian Customs is very thorough. Everything and everyone gets checked.
Hold it!
Just how strict is this customs check?
Way strict. They keep planes on the ground for hours.
I do recall it being a bit extreme. They were even confiscating gumdrops and marshmallows.
Yes, it would be hard to distinguish them.
That's right, Gavin was in Borginia, wasn't he? I remember setting off the metal detectors several times.
I wonder why.
I had to practically strip naked to walk through. Here's a travel tip for you, Gavin. Leave your bling at home, you glamorous fop. Okay.
Cocoon possession will get you arrested on the spot and then sentenced to death.
Hold it!
That's pretty extreme.
Borginia's rep as an idyllic, laid-back place. Truth is, they're beyond hardcore security.
The Republic of Borginia is a peaceful, pleasant country. So this level of security shows us how truly concerned they are about these cocoons.
That's the situation. Hey man, if there's a way to get cocoons out of there, I'd sure like to know.
I think I have an idea.
Hold it!
You're in a position to know quite a bit about smuggling.
Yeah, I need to know a bit for work, sure. But all we get are reports on the failed smuggling ops. Not exactly something you want to go copy. But if you want, I can tell you a few of them. Maybe you'll succeed and get rich.
I would be interested in hearing, purely from a legal perspective, of course.
I weep for our judicial system. The replica has to be a key to his motive. There's got to be a way to find out what he was up to. All right. Let's see. Do I put it here? I think I put it here.
Objection!
Actually, there is one way.
What?
One way to get something out of the country, no checks.
What is it?
You become a prosecutor.
A prosecutor?
I don't believe it. Believe it, Prosecutor Gavin. What was it you told me yesterday at your office? It was a beautiful instrument. It was played lovingly for many years. A guitar befitting a woman like Lemore. How did it end up here? I mentioned how much I enjoyed playing it that night and she made a present of it. So this guitar's from Borginia? That it is. We couldn't carry it on the plane. Changes in air pressure and humidity ruin the wood. So we vacuum packed it in the Lemore studio. I used a special shipping service available to me for transporting evidence. They brought it right up to my office for me. Pristine and untouched. Did I get that right, Prosecutor Gavin? Quite. The guitar was wrapped in several sheets and vacuum packed in Borginia. The pack was untouched until the day of the concert. Are you saying that guitar was... With cocoons this small, it would have been very easy to use your guitar as a mule to smuggle a cocoon out of Borginia.
What?
Which reminds me, Prosecutor Gavin, that guitar had some work done on it recently, right?
Work?
Good memory here, forehead. Well, you know how guitars have a round hole in the front? It is called the sound hole. Well, they found something attached to the wood just inside the hole. A broken device of some sort. A broken device? Yes, this, in fact.
An igniter!
Exactly. Consider this, if you will. What if that igniter wasn't the only thing that was attached inside your guitar? You mean? He means this, of course.
Ah!
There was a way to get a cocoon out of the country. They could use Picky Prosecutor Gavin's privileged guitar as a meow. And who better to do that than someone with access like a member of the band?
Order! So the igniter
Was placed in there for a clear reason, it seems. It was a safety precaution.
a precaution.
Hair forehead. At last, it all comes together. Every strange thing that happened that day. Here to review. Maestro, the gentle sounds of Lemoire's ballad, if you please. First, my keys were stolen, a harmless misdemeanor, which forced me to break the lock on my guitar case. The key was stolen to retrieve the cocoon from the guitar.
I see.
But things didn't go so well. The smuggler wasn't counting on the guitar being wrapped. Only a member of the band could get near that case. Unwrapping the guitar would raise too many suspicions. Then the concert began. Right about this time, a very large problem presented itself to the smuggler.
What's that?
Mr. Latouche.
Ah,
Mr. Latouche, an undercover agent, was onto something. He would have known about the guitar. He'd only have to check the shipping records. So, Mr. Latouche tried to examine the guitar himself. If the cocoon were confiscated, then the gig would be up. The only thing left for the smuggler to do was to get rid of the whole lot.
It's over. Press the switch, now.
The guitar burst into flames and the cocoon was lost. And then, Mr. Latouche died, with Lemoire there to witness it. There's the case.
Brilliant, man.
Detective Crescend?
I gotta know. You make all that up on the fly?
For a made-up story, it makes a great deal of sense, Darian.
Huh. The Republic of Borginia? Sorry, man, but I haven't even been there.
True, you haven't.
Huh. Let's see you make up a story for that, kid. How'd I hide the cocoon in the first place, huh?
It's not so hard to imagine. You had help, a Borginian accomplice. That's all. That you had an accomplice was clear from the start. The voice Lemoire heard proves it. You made this transmission from backstage, while your co-conspirator was on stage. Huh? What?
But But who was it?
This is it. Coup de grace. And for once, I know what I'm doing. Oh no. There's only one person who could have helped him. Oh.
Let's hear what Mr. Justice has to say then.
Man.
But be warned, with a great accusation comes great responsibility. Make up your answer on the fly, as it were, and you'll be harshly penalized. Are you ready, Mr. Justice? Who was the smuggler's accomplice?
Damn it.
Take that!
There's only one person who meets all the requirements of the accomplice, and that person is the defendant, Maki Tabai.
But Mr. Justice, he's your client.
A defense attorney accusing his client? That's a new one.
I assure you no one is more unhappy about this than I. But I am here to defend him in the murder of Mr. Latouche. And I stand by my statement earlier that he is innocent of that particular crime.
Indeed, the defendant is Borginian. He does meet the basic requirements to be the accomplice. But what if it was, in fact, Lamour?
Couldn't have been.
Oh, you seem sure of yourself.
The reason is electronic signals, Your Honor.
Electronic signals?
Recall that this remote only works to a range of 30 feet. Beyond that, it's useless.
Yes, that's true.
Now, think back to the testimony. When the shooter made his transmission, Lamour was in the air vent, right above the dressing room where the shooter stood. Let's take a look at the stage diagram. This is the area that the remote could reach from the air vent.
Well, looking at this, it seems that Lamour still could have done the deed.
No. When the shooter made that transmission, the stage was slightly different than shown here. It was in the middle of the guitar serenade. Part of the stage was raised. Prosecutor Gavin and the Lamour stand-in were in the air. They were on a tower which happens to be 15 feet tall. In other words, the remote couldn't have worked from Lamour's position in the air vent.
No.
Well, Detective Crescend, what do you say to that?
Yana,
Yes, Detective?
could we see the video where Gavin's guitar burns just one more time?
Well, I don't see why not.
What? Don't tell me he has a way out of this.
Too bad, so sad, punk.
Punk. First you're sleeves, then kid, now punk. You're losing rank fast, Apollo.
What exactly were we supposed to see in this video?
The problem isn't in what we see. Correct, Aaron?
Right, it's what you hear. We are musicians, after all.
Care to explain for us non-musicians?
Sure thing, punk. Let me get your yarn straight first. You're saying I ordered the wee pianist to set off that igniter? That right?
Yes.
Well, in order to do that, he'd have to press the switch. Am I right?
Okay.
Well, take another listen. Pay attention to the piano.
Piano. Okay. So I need to isolate the piano so I can prove that he could have pressed the switch.
What seems to be the problem there? The piano sounded just fine.
And that's the problem, man. You still don't get it? Yeah, how's he supposed to hit that switch if he's playing? You've got Ms. Diva, the guitar, the bass, the piano, and the drums. The only one with her hands free was a diva.
Lemort.
But according to you, she couldn't have been the accomplice, could she? Your accomplice would have had a hard time helping out if they couldn't even press a switch.
Oh my god, we're gonna play this so many times. Piano plays non-stop. He couldn't have pressed that switch.
Well, Mr. Justice, the piano does seem to be playing when the guitar catches fire.
Well,
It's okay, we all make mistakes sometimes.
Apollo, were you wrong?
I can't be wrong.
Everything makes perfect sense. How could it all just... Strange.
No, what's strange?
No, it's just... something's odd about the performance there. Odd.
Mr. Justice, if Maki Tabai didn't press that switch, then he could not be the accomplice you claim he is.
But everything points to it.
Every fact says he's the accomplice.
You got the facts wrong, man. Here's some facts for you. Gavin's guitar is on fire, but the pianist didn't press that switch. In other words, your story's full of holes.
Mr. Justice, let's hear your final opinion on this matter now. Was the defendant, Maki Tabai, the accomplice? Your answer will reflect on everything you've said here. Give it some thought.
Apollo, if Maki's not the accomplice, then our whole case is ruined.
I know that. That has to be him.
He was the only one who could have helped with the smuggler. He had to have pressed that switch. Well, you better find a way to prove it.
Ah!
What do I do? What do I do? There has to be something that doesn't fit. Something odd. Something odd. Wait a sec. What? You thought of something? What was Gavin saying just now? Strange.
What away?
No, it's just... something's odd about the performance there. It's not much to go on, but it's all I got. What exactly did he hear that was odd?
Have you come up with something, Mr. Justice? May I remind you that everything rests on this. Can you prove Maki Tabai pressed that switch? Let's hear your final answer. Can you prove that Maki Tabai pressed that switch?
Yes.
I don't know if you call this proof per se, but I can prove it was possible. Then, as prosecutor, it falls to me to ask you to show us evidence supporting this. Here, forehead, you sure about this?
Accept it. There's no evidence, man.
Let's see your evidence, Mr. Justice. On what do you base your claim that the defendant pressed the switch?
Take that!
The basis for my claim is music, Your Honor.
Music? What about music?
Let's listen to the piano part around the time when the switch was to be pressed. Right before the guitar burst into flame.
I hear a piano being played.
But doesn't it sound kind of simple?
Simple?
I think I know what he's suggesting. You think Maki could have played that part with one hand?
One hand?
He only needed one hand to press that switch. He could play the piano with the other.
Yeah. So what? So you're kind of piano savant?
Actually, no.
Then what do you know? You can't play a part like that with one hand.
Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about here. Wait, I know.
Hey, Trucy.
Yeah, you got something?
Mr. Wright, your father, he's a pianist. Could he?
Oh, Daddy? He couldn't play a part like that even if he had 3 hands.
So sorry, so sad for you.
No, not really.
Uh-huh.
That was just the easy way to prove it. There's always the hard way.
Man, how are you gonna prove whether he played it with 1 hand or 2? You can't.
I admit it will be rather difficult to prove, but it's highly likely he was playing with 1 hand.
How do you know that?
The clue is what Prosecutor Gavin described as sounding odd. What sounded odd? I'll bet we can tell by listening to a certain part of the song.
No way.
Well, it seems we've come to the moment of truth at last. Let's hear what Mr. Justice has to say for himself. Show us the part that proves the defendant was playing with 1 hand, right before the guitar burst into flame.
No crap. Maki was definitely playing 1-handed just before the guitar caught fire. And one section of the song proves it. All right. Was it track 4?
Take that!
Prosecutor Gavin, I'm sure you've realized by now just what it was that sounded odd to you. As I'm sure you've realized it yourself, Forehead.
Realized what?
I'll demonstrate. Let's listen to the part in question again, shall we? Pay particular attention to the but a fleeting melody phrase.
Man, how many times do we have to listen to the same damn thing?
You're right. Enough of that. Let's listen to another section, shall we?
Another section?
The guitar bursts into flame at the end of the second verse. Let's listen to the same spot in the first verse. Pay attention to "Oh, That Night in Your Embrace."
Play verse 2 again.
There, did you hear that?
They feel the same, true. But they're clearly very different.
What?
Well put, Your Honor. The phrase in verse 2 is quite simple, but the same phrase in verse 1 has high and low notes. You'd have to use 2 hands to play that for sure.
Ah.
What's that prove?
I would think you'd know that by now.
This is why I hate dealing with amateurs, man. So the two verses had different arrangements. Happens all the time.
Not this time, Darien. There's no point in changing an arrangement if you can't hear it clearly. And that wasn't the point. I had him play specifically so that the piano would stay in the background.
Ow! Ow!
That was what I noticed. Why should the same phrase sound slightly different? I asked myself. Now ask yourselves why Maki changed how he played, and there's only one answer. He needed a free hand in order to press the switch.
Order! 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 I believe this ties all the facts together. Well, Prosecutor Gavin?
Yes, quite. Though personally, this comes as a terrible disappointment. What? No comeback? Can't believe it. I finally did it. I shut him up.
Very well, barring an objection from the prosecution, I will now state the court's opinion on this matter.
Good show, Sleeves. No, great show.
It's not over. I don't like it when he looks so
Happy. You tell him, Gavin. Tell him what's so disappointing.
Personally, I'm terribly disappointed in you, Hair Forehead.
Me?
Yes, don't get me wrong, your case is solid. The facts all check out, but even now, you have yet to show us a single piece of decisive evidence.
Yeah, but the facts! Anyone can see it was him!
Unfortunately, anyone does not include the law. I'm afraid your case doesn't cut it.
But.
1,000 facts might point toward the same conclusion, but without decisive evidence, it's not proof. That's the rule under our current legal system.
I don't believe that.
It does not seem as though the defense has any more evidence to present.
Oh, I think if he did, we would have already seen it a long ways back.
It is unfortunate, but at present, this court is unable to acknowledge your accusation.
What? What?
The truth is staring us all right in the face. Why can't they see it? What's the point of a legal system that protects criminals? Apollo, remember what Daddy said?
It won't be easy proving he did it, especially not under the current court system.
So what do I do?
Like I said, good luck. And be aware that it will be impossible to prove his guilt by conventional methods.
Ow!
Every man has an igniter inside him. Find Darien Crescent's igniter and set it off.
I wonder what he meant by every man's igniter. Now you think he just meant a weak spot, no? The kind of thing that a single spark could turn into a wildfire of emotion? I won't be able to press him further by conventional means. I've got to find a weak spot in this guy, something fatal.
So, can I get back to work now or what? It may look like I got a lot of time on my hands, but I got no more time to play pretend with this deadweight attorney.
Well, Mr. Justice, we've come this far without decisive evidence. This witness won't be coming back to the stand once we let him go.
Every man has an igniter.
Huh?
Didn't you say the better the guitar, the brighter it burns, Prosecutor Gavin? Ah, yes. Good guitars are kept dry, is why. That provides the best sound. Even a small spark could cause irreparable damage. Your plan has an igniter in it too, Detective. It was there from the very beginning.
What?
Fighting time, Justice. If you blow this one, he'll be out of your hands for good. Go for it, Apollo!
What, and this igniter's supposed to come burn me up? That's almost poetic there, Mr. Attorney.
All the better. I'm rather fond of poetry, and I intend to hear this one through to the very end. Here, Forehead, you are accusing this man, Darien Crescent, of 2 crimes. the murder of Mr. Latouche, and the smuggling of a Borginian cocoon. This is your last chance to prove your case.
This trial has already run on for far too long. Mr. Justice, this will be my last warning. The moment this igniter of yours turns out to be a dud, is the moment this cross-examination ends. Understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then let's have it. Show us the basis for these accusations against Darian Crescend.
Yeah, okay, this is really my last chance. The key that will take apart Darian Crescend's plan is your igniter isn't a piece of evidence.
Huh? So what is...
It is true that I couldn't show decisive evidence, but perhaps what I needed to prove my case was something else. You mean a witness? Proving his guilt is a tall order, but I've got just the person to do it. I hope I'm right.
Very well, Mr. Justice. Who is this person who can prove Darian Crescend's guilt?
His accomplice.
Take that!
The one person who can prove Darian Crescend's guilt is the defendant, Maki Tabai.
Your client? Again?
Maki Tabai was an accomplice to the cocoon smuggling plot. Without him, Darian Crescend could not have gotten the cocoon. Furthermore, he can easily prove that the one who plotted to smuggle that cocoon is the real criminal in this case.
How so?
It would require just one of the very cocoons Mr. Latouche was looking for. With the cooperation of the Republic of Borginia, we could burn a cocoon. The burnt cocoon would leave a particular residue. A residue we would, no doubt, also find inside the burnt-out guitar.
Aha! Very scientific of you. Emma Sky would be proud.
Thus, if Maki Tabai acknowledges his agreement with Darian Crescend concerning the attempted smuggling of a Borginian cocoon, the case is solved. Darian's laughing again.
Your unrelenting passion is remarkable. You really want to get me, don't you? Too bad you'll never be able to.
Why not?
Old Key Tickler won't acknowledge anything, especially not anything to do with cocoon smuggling.
What's all this about?
Taking a cocoon out of the country means death by Borginian law.
Yeah, see? If our pianist really was a smuggler, then testifying about it would be suicide. Believe me, he's not talking.
But you're wrong, Detective Crescend.
What?
It's the other way around. If Maki doesn't admit to smuggling here, he's in deep trouble.
Huh? How?
Look, if Maki admits to smuggling here, then he'll be tried in our courts by our laws. You don't get the death penalty for smuggling in our country. The victim in this case was an undercover Interpol agent. I'm sure that news has already reached Borginia, and they'll likely broadcast our dealings in court today, including the part about the Borginian cocoon.
Yeah, but...
But if Maki doesn't admit to smuggling now, he'll eventually be picked up by the Borginian police. And it's not like he's in any danger in our court. We're not going to find him guilty of murder here, not now.
Yeah, but you can't do this. You can't accuse me.
Maybe the law doesn't allow it. But who's going to think you're really innocent after hearing this trial? The same goes for Maki Tabai. The cocoon smuggling is your entire plan. Maki Tabai knows everything. There's only one way out of it for him. And that's to acknowledge his own crime. The crime of cocoon smuggling.
Don't worry there. I'll get you out of the country. I'll set you up someplace. Hidden mansion, real nice. You want a house made out of cookies? Or no, a house made out of pianos? Come on.
What?
Please! Don't talk!
Darian, I consider that my last session with you. We rocked. I'm guessing we can treat that outburst as a confession. Oh, he's laughing again. There's a kind of sick desperation in it now, though.
Well, have you been listening to today's trial?
Yes.
And you'll talk? You'll tell this court everything?
I didn't want it to turn out this way, but I'm not the kind of lawyer that can overlook a crime. Today's trial was all for your benefit, you know. See no reason why you should hesitate now.
I knew. From beginning, I knew.
Maki,
Situation I cannot explain, but money I needed. Very much money.
Today's trial raises a delicate issue with our legal system. The only thing definite in a court of law is evidence. This is the golden rule. However,
it has become apparent that not all things can be tried by this standard.
should another case of this sort surface, we may have to consider an alternate system by which to administer justice. Anyway, Mr. Maki Tabai,
Yes.
I promise you will receive a fair trial by the laws of our country. And with regards to the current charges for the murder of Mr. Latouche, this court is prepared to announce a verdict.
Now,
I thank you. I only lie, but you see truth. You find truth.
That's our job. Very well. This court finds the defendant, Maki Tabai, not guilty.
well, I'm not guilty of murder, but nah, still guilty of smuggling.
Court is adjourned.
July 10th, 4:42 p.m., District Court Defendant Lobby Number 2. I wonder what'll happen to Maki. Well, he did smuggle a cocoon out of Borginia. I guess there'll be another trial here. All's well that ends well. Yeah, yes, you. Daddy! I owe you both my thanks. I'm Art. Why? Is something wrong? I'm sorry. Maki was your partner on stage, your friend. Yes, I thought of him as my own son. Even now I do, yet something got a hold of him, something evil. I see that. And he must pay for what he has done. Is that not how it should be? I'm still sorry. Do not be sorry. You have given me courage. Courage? I am considering an eye operation.
It was my suggestion, actually.
You mean you'll be able to see again? It's funny. I have always been afraid of the light. Light seems so harsh, so unforgiving.
According to the doctor, Lamore lost her sight due to some kind of accident.
An accident? As you know, I suffer from amnesia. I feared that if I could see, perhaps it would open my eyes to the truth I have been running from. I was scared.
You know what changed her mind? Hearing your defense in there today. She could feel your gaze, unwavering, always looking straight at the truth.
If the light returns to my eyes, I think I will take up painting. Painting? That's right! She's a landscape painter in sound, after all. I will paint the two of you, I promise. Woo! I can't wait, Lamar! I owe you my thanks too, Apollo. Thanks, Mr. Wright, but for what? You reminded me that I need to hurry things along. On my secret mission, that is. Right, your secret mission. Apollo, Trucy, I hope that we will meet again someday soon. You bet, me too. And so, like a ballad, the trial flowed on and on until it came to the end. Thanks to the trial, the guitar serenade was a huge hit. Prosecutor Gavin's even more dazzling to look at now. But there's something I want to say to that guy. Next time you write a ballad, have them catch the killer at the end. The end. To the outro. Well, hopefully Maki will be tried as a minor and not deported to Burkina afterwards. I'm sure that between Gavin and Lamore, they can work something out. And what the hell is Phoenix up to? Obviously, he wants to change the system, but what's his plan? I'm sure that's all about to come to a head since case number 4 is coming up next. In the meantime, up here's a playlist of my Danganronpa V3 playthrough, and down here's a video that YouTube recommends. Also, if you'd like to help support a fuzzy little monsters and get videos early, we have channel memberships for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!